Darkseid has taken over Earth, and where Superman has succumbed to the anti-life, and where he and now with his ragtag band, and there was a few members of the Justice League that had survived to that world, and that they were fighting to try and so Batman's with the broken half a cyborg, because it's only half of him because of whatever happened. They were working on equation to jump flash back to tell Bruce, obviously. You guys aren't surprised because this is what I've read it.
So now that you know this, don't tell anybody.
Nice. Anyway, so those were the things that we were dealing with. And not to say that the studio still, they were still into sort of the big look, but the details of how and why everyone was mad at each other, or why that was the stuff where they were a little bit like, because, Lois, and it's in the little teaser where the Justice League teaser that wasn't in the movie apparently, where Wonder Woman says, it's this line where Bruce says, "I was right here, and Barry Allen came to me, and he said, Lois Lane is the key," right? And then she goes, "He is the Superman. Every heart has one." And he goes, "I think it's something darker," right? And what it means is that the thing that was darker was that, it was all about, if Lois died, Superman would succumb to the anti-life, of course, right? And if Superman knew that somehow it was Bruce's responsibility to protect Lois, he would have been mad at him in this movie, right? So that's why he says, "She was my world and you took her from me." So that was sort of and then of course he has to jump back. And the other thing that we were working on was this idea that Cyborg said to Bruce in the distant future, there's two windows. We had come up with this time traveling concept where basically the way the time traveling window worked is that it's not awesome physics and doesn't make any sense, but that you had to jump. You had to do a time jump when the Earth was in relatively the same spot, right? Because if you did a time jump and the Earth wasn't in the same position in space, you would jump into space and just be dead. And so, okay, so there's always so they had two windows, right, to do the jump. And Cyborg says which of these two windows do you think we should use? And Bruce was like, "Well, what window would you have put me through if you didn't ask?" And he's like, "This one." And then he's like, "Use the other one." Because that one you already did, and it was the wrong one. Barry Allen was in my freaking Batcave yelling at me about nonsense. So you need to put him through that other one, because that's the one that will, because he had to jump right before Darkseid boom tubes into the Batcave to murder Lois, so you have to anyway, so that was the window that he had to hit. Anyway.
So, I added the montage of Zack Snyder talking about what the actual Snyder Cut is before this video started, because a lot of people, they don't realise what the Snyder Cut is. The Snyder Cut, essentially, is a movie that was so different to the cut we got. In the Snyder Cut, Lois Lane was supposed to die, we were supposed to get Darkseid, we were supposed to get Martian Manhunter, we were supposed to get Green Lantern. It was pretty much a complete separate movie. So essentially what happened is, even before Wonder Woman came out, Zack Snyder had the original Justice League movie cut. Okay? Cut in the sense that it was written, the script was written. Then essentially Warner Bros. Was like, "Yeah, we don't like this, we don't like this." So essentially Zack said that he kept the majority of it, but some of it had to be watered down. So it is interesting how there is so many different variations of this movie. Then what happened is, you know, he had a family tragedy, and then essentially Warner Bros. Rewrit the whole movie. So essentially what happened now is we've got a lot of evidence that the reshoots were 80 pages long. Yes, my friends, 80 pages long, which generally means one page equals 1 minute. 80 minutes, you know, an hour is 60 minutes. So 1 hour 20 was completely rewrit. You know, so most of the movie we ended up getting wasn't actually the Zack Snyder variation. And then we get back to this Variety article that I keep going on about because it's so amazing to me how they can write an article saying the Snyder Cut isn't coming, they're not going to spend millions of dollars, when we know Zack Snyder has literally already done it himself. So it's interesting. So in this Variety article from a supposed publication, there's little appetite at the studio for spending millions of dollars. It will require to finish visual effects editing work on the Snyder Cut. Well, we know that's wrong because Zack has, you know, finished it himself. You know, recently Jason Momoa was like, yep, I've seen the Snyder Cut. You don't think it's finished? He basically says, yep. He basically confirmed it without really confirming it because obviously he's still working with him. And what Jason Momoa said about seeing it confirms that it is there. So regarding WB having little appetite, that is plain and simply wrong. So usually I would not agree with CosmoBookNews.com, but in this incident, I really think they are true. They've got this article saying release of Snyder Cut is still happening on HBO Max. I do believe that. I really do believe that. I usually would not use this website. I usually wouldn't talk about what they say because usually I don't agree with them, but on this case, they are wrong. It is well aware of social media response for release of the Snyder Cut, reaching millions of people. I can say my articles have reached thousands of fans alone, and this is just my website and my social media. Now, what's interesting, it goes on to say this. So since Warner Bros. Media is releasing HBO Max streaming service in May, they may compete with Netflix and Disney plus mega juggernaut. Variety is trying to tell us that there's little appetite for the subscription for these fans. That's laughable as hell. I agree with that. That is laughable. And I generally do not source this person, but I agree with what she's saying. Grace Randolph brings up a good point. What is going on with negotiations underway regarding getting the release of Snyder Cut on HBO Max, in which she compares it to the recent Spider-Man deal that we have. So she says this: recall the different Hollywood trades sites reporting the deal was dead, while at the same time others said it was still going on. As we know, Sony and Disney came and kept it all secret and essentially came to a deal. The same thing's going on with release of Snyder Cut. Look, it's obvious Snyder Cut would be on HBO Max, which launches in May 2020. Keep that in mind regarding any announcement. Grace tweeted, WD doesn't want to peak too early. There's no immediate rush. This is a Disney, Sony, Marvel deal all over again. Clickbait stories. They wanted to get people to sign HBO Max. That's the main reason this is happening. Randolph continues, the more than likely the release of Snyder Cut marketing campaign will kick into high gear around HBO Max. This is very hard to predict. The deal isn't even done yet. But my guess would be when you buy and sign up to HBO Max, she said. So, although I don't usually agree with these sources, I do agree that release the Snyder Cut is definitely coming. It is finished. And all these articles stating that it's not going, it's going to cost millions of dollars to do it. If Jason Momoa is seeing it, loads of people seeing it, Ray Fisher's seeing it, I've spoken to people in the DMs on Instagram who said they've seen it, and it's been seen. Now, let's go back to the story. Now, the New York Times published a really interesting article about why Ben Affleck and Gal Gadot are tweeting release of Snyder Cut. You know, Ben Affleck, one of the most respected people in Hollywood. He's done so many things, such a great actor, director. But Gal Gadot, who is the face of DC, the Wonder Woman, the princess of DC after Mira, in my opinion. So, their superhero film, Justice League, was a critical flop. But the stars want the original director's vision restored. I wonder why this is. Now, it's very interesting. So this article, I will leave it down below, guys, goes through a lot of stuff, goes through how much money it made, how much money it didn't make, etc. But what is interesting is what it says and the context of what it states. So as we know, there were massive reshoots, 80-page reshoots, which everyone says the reshoots didn't amount to anything. But that is a lie, because we know the Avengers director Joss Whedon was hired to helm a substantial reshoot of 80 pages. Now, I'm reading directly from NewYorkTimes.com. This version gave Gal Gadot and the Man of Steel, holdovers Amy Adams and Diana Lane far more to do, significantly trimmed subplots involving the Flash, Cyborg, and one character, a love interest for Miller. As we know, there were scenes with the Flash and Iris West, which is pretty iconic, that were completely cut. The studio had hoped that Whedon could bring to the Justice League the same light that he brought to the Avengers movie that grossed $1.5 billion, which is interesting because realistically that movie wasn't even great. It really wasn't. But Whedon was ultimately flawed. Seriously flawed. Production issues, including lead actor Henry Cavill, who was busy shooting Mission Impossible Fallout, and whose facial hair from a film was not allowed to be taken out. So I don't really understand why they had to reshoot everything. Obviously, they're scared because it's a bit darker and it's a bit grittier, and then they go and release the Joker movie, which is more grittier than any DC movie we've had, and then that smashes $1 billion. The Whedon cut of Justice League was released in November 2017 to poor reviews and the box office totally that came in well below Superman, Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman. In the years since, Snyder has used social media website Vero to tease images. So it's alright them saying there is no Snyder cut, but you could already make the movie. I included the clip at the start of the video which literally shows you there is a Snyder cut. Now the article ends with this. Whilst Warner Bros. Has found significant success at making standalone movies based on Gal Gadot Wonder Woman, although that's not a standalone because that is kind of in line with the Justice League. Jason Momoa Aquaman, that happened after the Snyder cut, after the Justice League movie, so again, that is fabricated. The studio no longer sees its priority getting them back together with their old teammates. Cavill has no Superman appearance left on his docs, although Cavill's recently talking about the fact that he is Superman. Warner Bros. Recently recast Batman Robert Pattinson for a new style on the material due to come out in 2021. Affleck and Gal Gadot may have lent their weight to release a Snyder Cut, but corporate indifferences is a foe against which few superheroes can hope to prevail. So it's an interesting read, but 80-page reshoot. Are you serious, bro? So this is all the evidence I need that the Snyder Cut is coming. It will be on HBO Max. And this is not clickbait. This is 100% happening. Why do you think Zack Snyder got refollowed on Twitter by every Warner Bros. Account? You know, an HBO Max verified account on Twitter was liking posts. Why do you think he recently told a fan who said, I'm giving up hope about Snyder Cut? And he said, don't give up hope. Why? Because he knows something we don't know. You know, we've got CCXP Brazil coming next weekend. They could reveal it there, but I agree with Grace. I can't really believe I'm agreeing with Grace, but I do 100% think this will be coming. I've been on the Snyder Cut hype for such a long time, and I do believe it is still coming. There is more evidence that it's coming than it's not coming. I know Variety put out their little article that was really, it just didn't make sense because it's like they have no clarity what to do with Superman. What do they do? Michael B. Jordan is not Superman. The article did not say that. There was no evidence. There was no sources of a source of a source. I mean, realistically, if it's a publication like Variety, they can quote someone up at Warner Bros., but there was literally, they quoted no one. I find it very weird, the whole situation, that for some reason, they started off saying there is no Snyder Cut. Zack Snyder has literally shown this cut to a lot of people. They just have to sign an NDA and not give details out. But we know Darkseid was supposed to be in this movie. So guys, listen to me. Release the Snyder Cut is coming. We know what it is. We just don't know when it's coming. But I fully believe, and I hope you guys fully believe, it is coming. Henry Cavill is still Superman. He really is. He could feature in the Black Adam movie. I'm just finding it repetitiveness talking about the Snyder Cut, but I'm only still talking about it because so many people on the daily since I've started to do these Justice League videos blow me up asking more questions, and I'm just telling you what I think and what we can find out based on research. The Snyder Cut is there, it's done, it's dusted, and it's ultimately up to Warner Bros. Because they own the property. It's Zack Snyder's work. Obviously, he was employed. So until they're like, yeah, we can release it, it won't be released. But it will be released, guys. Have faith. It is coming. So like always, guys, please like, subscribe, and comment. And at the 100,000 subscriber mark, I will be giving away a PS4 Pro or an Xbox One X or a Switch with any game. All you got to do is subscribe to the channel so we get there faster. We are something like 23,000 subscribers away. And it would be fantastic if we could hit that number in the next 6 months by next summer. That would be freaking fantastic. I'm going to be doing some videos about the Batman Robin Pattinson because that seems to be in trouble. Kind of. It's an interesting story, but this video is already over a pretty long time, so I don't want to make this video any longer. And we'll be talking Wonder Woman 1984 because we could be getting a trailer next week. So like always, guys, please like, subscribe, and comment, and I will catch you in another video very soon. Catch ya later.